Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there, enjoying your day, making it positive, making it wonderful, making it be exactly what you need it to be and more. And for those of y'all who are starting to wrap up your day, if you're watching this later on or if you're watching this on the other side of the world, hopefully you guys are doing very well as well here. Man, oh man. We got to talk about this. And I told you guys I would be talking about a particular story. I know that was like about 2 days ago, but I was kind of waiting out on some certain elements. I don't have them yet. But when I do get those certain elements, they will be coming in, or I will be bringing those up. But this is a case that really does matter. And there's a little bit of education for those of y'all who don't know certain things that go on in these U.S. streets that actually do exist, mostly in southern states, but they are everywhere. They exist. I'm going to explain here in just a little bit. But this is a story nonetheless that needs to be out here. This young man, 25-year-old Rasheem Carter, needs as much justice as anybody else. This screams Ahmaud Arbery. This screams so many young black men that lose their lives at the hands of, allegedly at the hands of very dangerous people in places that maybe they find themselves stranded in. In this particular case, this is what happened with Rasheem. This is a story that we hear a lot. This is a tale as old as time, as frustrating as it is. But it's a real thing. And we're going to talk about it and bring awareness to it. So if you guys can, please do me a favor, because we're going to go back. We're going back, way back to give you guys a full understanding of what the heck happened here and where we are, or where they are in this case so far. There's been new updates, new information. It looks like this boat is finally veering off in the right direction. Fingers crossed. And we're going to talk about that as well. So sit tight, get your coffee, whatever it is. We're going to jump into this, okay? So do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes as you start to file in, okay? And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? You know for a fact your boy is working hard out here in these streets to give you the conversations and the stories that you need for the day, okay? And also hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Period, point blank. Okay? That'd be greatly appreciated. All right? So let's get into this, guys. Again, thank you guys so much for coming in, being a part of the convo and all this. But this is a story, like I said, this is a story that really does need to get some more light, some more time under the sun. And it's funny because as I was sitting here waiting to talk about this, because I was kind of waiting for certain elements did come out. I was waiting on something. We are looking at that here in a little bit. But there was some other pieces I was waiting for. While I was waiting for it, I'm like, man, nobody's talking about this, y'all. Ain't nobody going out here and talking about this. What the hell is going on, right? And then all of a sudden, as I'm getting ready for this show this morning, I'm seeing all kinds of people starting to talk about this. So this is good news. This story is getting out there. There is foul play. I'm going to say it right off the bat. There is most definitely foul play with this story. There are some things here that just doesn't make any sense. There's definitely some sort of cover up going on here, and we're going to get down to the bottom of it. But like I said, this is this young man right here, 25-year-old Rasheem Carter. I want you to know that this guy is a son. He's also a father of a young little girl, 25 years old, was working as a welder to save up some money so that he can reopen his seafood restaurant. So he picked up any jobs he could, welding. He was about 100 miles away from his own hometown, and he was left stranded. That really left stranded in this town of Taylorville, if I'm correct. We're going to get into all this here in a second. He went to the local PD asking them for help. In fact, he asked them for a bloody ride. They said it's outside of their jurisdiction. Then, the very next day, he was complaining. He was sending text messages to his mother, communicating with family and friends, basically saying that there was three trucks filled with white men that were chasing him down and hurling slurs at him. He goes missing. A month later, he is found on someone's private property out in the woods. And the details of which we will get into here in a little bit, the details that surround what happened to him, how he was found, etc., are absolutely appalling. And what's even more appalling is that local PD for a while was claiming that there was no foul play. I know I'm leaving a lot of things out, but there's a lot to say. There's a lot of story to get into. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a summary before we get into this. And also, again, near the end of the show, there is new information that shows proof positive that there was some sort of foul play going on here. We're going to get into that in just a minute. But one of the things that we need to go into, of course, is, the burning question, which is what actually happened? What happened to Rasheem Carter? Why did this all go down? Okay, so let's get into this, shall we? So, real quick, first off, let me say this. Andrea, thank you so much for the €250. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. That really does mean a lot. And again, let me just say this again, because this is the problem. This is the problem here. Okay, this is what grinds my gears. This is what burns my cookies. I know I need to make that a t-shirt. Okay, but you know what? What really grinds my gears and what burns my cookies is that there are plenty of stories like this that don't get not one glimpse. We're so obsessed with so many other stories. We're so obsessed with Idaho 4, BK, all that stuff. But there's still other injustices that are going on in this world. There are still other things that are going on right under your nose that are just as shocking, just as appalling, that deserve just as much love and attention and passion for. This right here is absolutely insane, what happened to this young man. I'm just saying this now because I'm hoping that this inspires anyone out there. And if I can just even inspire one person in this show to share, to bring this conversation up, to bring more awareness to this on their own platform, dagnabbit, do so. This young man deserves justice just like any of the other kids. This was a father. This was a son. This was a man who was by himself in a town that he didn't know, getting chased down by men fearing for his life. And they're trying to cover this bad boy up. Okay? So I'm just saying that out loud. And yes, of course, Shanquella as well. That's the reason why we brought up that conversation yesterday in that quick live. We keep saying their names. We keep saying them out loud. Hopefully, we can get them swift justice. We got to get into this, but real quick, Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much for the 500 yen. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, sweetheart. So I urge every single last one of y'all, I challenge y'all to share this. To share this. You don't have to share this video. I'm just saying share an article, share his photo, put up a hashtag wherever your main platform is, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. I don't care. The more word of this getting out, maybe the more proof will come out. More of the truth will come out. All right. I'm off my soapbox, okay? Sorry. I'm off the soapbox. But this stuff really just hurts me. It angers me. Okay? So, last October, again, this was in October, guys. Not very far away. Not very far. Not long ago, okay? So last October, Rasheem told Taylorsville, Mississippi police that he had been chased by truckloads of white men yelling racial slurs at him. Days later, Carter was officially reported missing. Okay? He remains here. His remains were found a month later, just a mile south of the town. In a statement posted to Facebook at the time, the Smith County Sheriff's Office, where Taylorsville is actually located, they actually said that there was no reason to believe that foul play was involved. Like first off, when you start to hear more of this, guys, you tell me, real talk, you tell me if this doesn't scream foul play or not. Okay, let's continue. Because right off the bat, him saying that he was being chased by truckloads of white men already screams foul play. But you know, what the F's going on? So, months after Carter's disappearance, the State Bureau of Investigation and local police still maintain that an investigation is ongoing. Right. But have provided his family with scant information. His family thinks that Carter, a 25-year-old black man, was emmed, unalived. His life was taken in cold blood and found. Let me just highlight this because I can't really say these things. They found his head removed. And you know I have to use these code words, guys. But they found his head removed. Let me repeat that one more time. They found his head removed. I'm just going to let that sink in. But there was no foul play. You want to know why? It gets crazier. I'll explain here in just a second. Okay, so his life was taken against his will in cold blood. All right. They found his head removed. Got to use these code words. And that police inaction put Carter in danger and is now stalling his family's quest for justice. On Monday, a civil rights attorney, we already know Benjamin Crump is on this story and on this case like crazy, but he stood with the Carter's mother, Tiffany, outside of a federal court in Jackson and displayed photos from an independent autopsy, which he said showed that Carter's top had been removed from his body and his spinal cord had been found unattached to the rest of his body. I'm pausing because I want that to sink in, y'all. But no foul play? So Benjamin Crump said, this is a nefarious act. This was an evil act. Someone took the life of Rasheem Carter, and we cannot let them get away with this. And I agree. Okay, we already know he's represented everyone from Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Tyree Nichols, and that's also an ongoing case right now as we speak. We already talked about that at great lengths. Okay. Crump also demanded the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate the circumstances surrounding Carter's demise. When you look at these pictures, taken at the autopsy, it tells you there is nothing natural about this because police fail to act. What we have is a Mississippi L. I can't use that word, unfortunately, in 2022. We know there are clues to this. There are clues to this M mystery. And we need the highest levels of law enforcement to administer justice for Rasheem Carter. Now, just a little bit of information here. Okay, they say, but real quick, Carter's family believes that the local police have not been fully upfront with them about the investigation and that it's been mishandled. They're saying this is a transparent investigation. They're saying that this is a transparent investigation. This is according to Carter's aunt. No, it's not. We don't know nothing. We don't know anything. In other words, they're playing everything. You know, we hear that stuff a lot. We're going to play this close to the vest so that we can continue to investigate on what happened. Right? BS, in my personal opinion, when it comes to this. Zero transparency. Zero. Yeah. Y'all, this is insane. Okay? This whole thing is absolutely knuckin' futz. And it's real. Let me just say this to you guys. This happens every day. I said it earlier. This is a tale as old as time. And we ain't talking about Beauty and the Beast. Okay? This ain't no fairy tale. There are plenty of black men and women that are running for their lives in small rural towns right now that are being gone missing, and then they get their crime that was committed against them gets covered up. We hear about these stories all the time. All the time. Let's go. So, a little bit about Rasheem. Rasheem Carter was born in October 1996 and was raised in Fayette, Mississippi. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. Where he graduated from high school in 2015, where he played football and baseball. He later on went to study welding and cutting at a nearby community college. They described him as outgoing, charitable, and entrepreneurial. In 2019, he opened a seafood business in the city of Fayette. It was called Callie's Express, which he named after his daughter. Remember, he has a daughter. The crawfish can wake a dead man up. One Google review was said about this particular restaurant. Now, obviously, the mother said he was more than a son to me. He acted like my dad. He acted like my best friend, my brother, my uncle. He was just a man that wanted to do what he had to do. And one thing I do want to say is for whatever reason, his business shut down and he was welding and doing any job he could that he could pick up so that he could reopen his seafood restaurant. That's his dream. And that was his baby because he named it after the light of his life, the apple of his eye, his own daughter, Callie's Express. For a fact, he loved that. And he was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I can to get this back up on his feet. And so I can keep my feet planted firmly on the ground. So if that means I got to travel out to different places and work at different places, bet I'm about to do that. And that's exactly what he did. For a fact, if he had any other choice, he'd be inside Callie's Express right now as we speak, cooking and serving and making his dream continue to thrive. But for whatever reason, he had to pick up something else. Okay? So, what's interesting is that he said Carter had plans to expand his restaurant, okay, to nearby cities, but the business closed during the Rona when food costs went up. His family said he wanted to reopen, so Carter, a welder, started working contracting jobs, sometimes far from his home, in order to save money. That is why he went back on the road traveling, because he wanted to reopen. He was young, but he had a good head on his shoulders. So, in late September 2022, Carter traveled more than 2 hours east from Fayette to Taylorsville to work a contract job. He stayed at a Super 8 motel in the city of Laurel, about a half-hour drive southeast of Taylorsville. But Carter soon ran into problems with coworkers, including a roommate who eventually told him he could no longer ride with him to and from work, according to Carter's family, before he disappeared. Now, I want to, before I go into this part, okay, before I go right here into this next part. So he was getting rides, just so you guys get this a better idea. He was getting rides from a coworker, and it was a roommate of the motel that he was staying in. So they would drive, half hour, maybe an hour or so out to different places. And they would like basically split up a motel room. But for some weird reason, he and this roommate that was also his ride were butting heads. For what reason? We still don't really know. We still don't really know. But because they butt heads, the roommate said, "F it, I ain't driving you back. I'm not driving you back." So that's how he ended up stranded in Taylorsville. I just want to make that abundantly clear before we venture on, okay? This is where it starts. This is where the problem starts, right here, okay? So before he disappeared, Carter texted his mother a concern. "Me and the owner of this company are not seeing eye to eye, mama. If anything happens to me, he's responsible for it." Now, why would somebody say something like that? Like, that is, to me, pretty damning. That's pretty damning information to receive from your mom. Like, if you are a parent and you received a text message like that, and then a month later they go missing, and then a month later they're found in a sort of way that screams foul play. To me, this is already saying something else. Now, one of the things is that we got more, but at the same time, it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't. And to me, screams that the foul play had begun right then. Now, I know that there's going to be people out here that saying, "Oh, okay, well, that could be two different incidents." That could possibly be it too. But isn't that a weird coincidence that he's butting heads so badly that he's stuck in Taylorsville? He texts his mom to say, "Hey, mama, like this boss, we are not getting along. If anything happens, he's responsible for it." I mean, I don't see, I personally don't see a, what's the word? I mean, I definitely see a coincidence, and you can't unsee it. And that's the thing, Tyler. I don't even know how heated the argument was, what the conversation or the fight was about, but it was enough for a person to say, "F you, I'm leaving you here. Figure out how you're going to get home." That's literally what went down. Figure out how you're going to get home. That's insane, guys. Okay? So she said the mother did not name the company or the man who the man that her son allegedly told her would be responsible for his demise, but she has turned the name and her text messages over to the police, according to Crump. On the night on Saturday, October 1st, Carter texts his mom that he was being chased by men in trucks who were yelling racial slurs at him, though it's unclear whether this was related to his problems at work. Again, to me, when it comes to M cases and all that, when it comes to investigation, we always hear from, as far as detectives and all that, there is no such thing as a coinky dink. There's no such thing as that when it comes to a crime like this, or to crimes, unless there really is a coinky dink, but I don't see it. To me, I see this being connected. That's just what I think. And still, no matter what, why would 5-0, local 5-0, sit there and say that there's no reason to suspect foul play if they have received information from the mother saying he sent me text messages saying he and his boss weren't getting along, and if anything happens to him, he's responsible? Wouldn't that scream to you, yeah, there's grounds for foul play here, and we need to investigate, period, whether it's connected or not? So you shouldn't be putting out here in these streets that there's no reason to suspect foul play, when for damn sure there is reason to suspect foul play. All right. His mother told him to go to the police. There, Carter reportedly also asked the police officers at the station in Taylorsville for a ride back to Laurel. Both Carter's family and Taylorsville police chief Gabe Horn have said that police denied his request because Laurel was, quote unquote, out of their jurisdiction. So that Saturday night, we were not aware of where he stayed in Taylorsville. We don't know if he stayed in the woods or, we have no idea. The police offered no help to him, literally. And that's true. He turned to them. He asked them, hey, can I get a ride back to, can you give me a ride back to Laurel? And they said no. And what's interesting about this situation is, do you know how many times I've seen people get rides from police? And I don't know how Taylorsville works, but last I checked, I seen people get rides. I've seen women in dire straits that are stuck on the side of the road or something like that get a ride from the police. Shoot, I've even gotten a ride from the police. And that, like, real talk, I've gotten a ride from the police long time ago, but it actually happened. He was a really nice guy too. I was surprised. But he gave me a ride. I was stuck on the side of the road, had some car trouble. He helped me jump in the ride and go. And I understand that is long. That's a long drive. That's what, 100 miles or so away from 100 miles or something like that. Okay. But at the same time, I've seen cops give people rides all the time. All the time, regardless of if it's in their jurisdiction or not. I've just seen it. Or at least they go from one place and they could have dropped him off in another place, and they could have done like if that makes any sense, like a leapfrog type of thing. Hey, we got this kid, we're going to drop him off over here. And also we got to remember, we don't know his financial situation. Sure, he could have Ubered, but that would have been an expensive ass Uber ride. We don't know his financial situation. I know some people are like, why won't he just get a ride share? That's an expensive ride. And you got a guy who's stranded in Taylorsville with no place to stay, asking the police to help him out by, I'm sure he could have negotiated maybe, or at least tried, but they were sitting there saying, nope, we can't help you. Sorry, bro, we can't help you. That's crazy, guys. So on Sunday morning, a family friend said she would drive out to Taylorsville to pick up Rasheem and bring him back home. Taylor shared his location with his mother to pass along, which is great. But when Green arrived, however, she couldn't find him at the gas station or anywhere else in town, she said. When Green went to Taylorsville police, she said that she was told that Carter had called the police station earlier that morning and said some men are trying to harm him really bad. An officer later found Carter hiding in the bushes behind a gas station in Taylorsville before bringing him back to the station, where he paced around for about an hour on the phone. This is what she recalled the police telling her. And yet there's still no foul play? Man, hamburger. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. All right. They're covering something up. Long story short, Carter's family says he was told he was about to be he was not to be able to stay at the police station while he waited for his ride. But Horn, the Taylorsville chief of police, gave a different story to a Mississippi television station. He told the officer that night that he and his roommates had a verbal disagreement, sorry, and he felt threatened, and that was it. So, according to Chief of Police Horn, this is what he said. Carter did tell the officer that night that was up there that he had a ride coming, and the officer advised him, "You're more than welcome to stay at the police department." He said, "No, sir. I dropped a pin where I wanted to be picked up." This is what Horn, just so you know, one more time, Chief of Police, told WDAM. So the family friend bounced back and forth between Laurel and Taylorsville over the course of the day before finally filing a missing persons report in Laurel and going home. Several days later, after Taylorsville police said they had still not been able to locate Rasheem, she said she came back to Taylorsville with Rasheem's mother to continue the search. The family friend said that they found a worker at a Junior Food Mart store who recognized Carter as a man who, on the morning he disappeared, was offering people in the store up to $100 to drive him back to Laurel. But Taylorsville police were less helpful, Green said, the family friend said. At one point, an officer told Tiffany Carter, the mother, that she had failed her son by not picking him up herself. I don't want to blame the police, but I feel like if they had acted quicker and took it seriously, then things would have been much better. This is what the family friend said. We're blaming them because they didn't do what they're supposed to do as officers, which I completely agree. Now, that was at the top, okay? That was at the top of October. Remember that. And you had a family and family friend going out of their way trying to find this young man. You heard the different information. That was all lies. They say one thing to the family, but they're saying something else to the press, so on and so forth. But what's even crazier is how he was found, where he was found, and all that. So let's get into that, okay? So in November, a whole month later, Rasheem's remains were located outside of Taylorsville on a private property. His remains were finally returned to his family in February. Police have continued to indicate that they believe there was no evidence that foul play was involved in Carter's demise. On Monday, Carter said that early in the investigation, police told Carter's family that they believed he got lost, passed out, and was attacked by animals. Okay? I'm just highlighting that because I want to make sure you know this. Okay? He got lost, passed out, and they have the absolute audacity to say that his body was mauled and ruined by animals, that his head was removed from his body, separated from his body. I have to say this because where's the logic in that? His whole head removed from his whole body by animals? Yeah, they were animals, but not the animals that you're thinking of, not the wilderness animals. Disgusting. And the fact that oh man. Okay, continuing on. They say that was the first lie. I mean, attacked by animals? Like, real talk? I'm sorry. I don't mean to dwell on that too much, but I'm just saying, real talk. You're saying you out here really feeding me this BS. You find his body in a way that screams something else done by man, and you're trying to tell me that nature did this. He just randomly ran into this person's private property, went into the wooded area, passed out, and then while he was passed out, who was this? Sasquatch? Who did this? That would be of animal. Moving on. That was the first lie, according to Crump. We have to let this family know what you're doing, or you have to let this family know what you're doing. You can't just say we're investigating and not give them any answers since October. This is a Mississippi L. There's nothing else you can call it but a modern day legend. And again, this is a tale as old as time. Modern day L's are still happening every day. They are just done differently. That's it. And they find better ways and easier ways of finessing around the situation so that they don't get caught, or they got connections with other people, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Hence the reason why they're able to get away with it, guys. Get away with M. Okay. So okay. My bad, guys. So police agencies, including the Taylorsville PD and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, have largely refused to release records related to Carter's demise to Vice News, which is the article we're reading here, saying that the investigation is still ongoing and thus exempt from Mississippi public records laws. A Taylorsville Police Department employee told Vice News that the department wasn't releasing any police reports or anything else during an quote unquote active investigation. To me, this is them trying to use paperwork, red tape, etc., to continue to hide. And they can basically keep saying, oh, it's an active investigation. They can keep saying that and not be able to release. I mean, eventually they're going to have to release the records. Eventually they're going to have to say this is not an ongoing investigation. But let's be real. Let's be real. We all know what's going down here. We already know what's going down here. Okay? Multiple messages left with the Smith County Sheriff's Office last week went unanswered, and a public records request for the autopsy, police reports, and more information made to the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation returned only a heavily redacted initial report from the Mississippi Department of Public Safety, MBI's parent agency, after the case was referred to them by local authorities. The elected coroner of Smith County answered a call from Vice News Friday. And before Carter's name was even mentioned, wow, the autopsy results would not be released during an active investigation. The coroner did not provide a timeline for those results, for when those results would be released. When asked what case he was referring to, the coroner replied, "I assume it's the one everyone's asking about, Rasheem Carter." So, I mean, let's keep it real. One thing that I do commend everybody about, because of course, this story, this case, his name is actually getting out there. It's slowly seeping through out here in these streets, slowly, but it is out here. People are talking about it so much that this coroner, this reporter didn't even need call, didn't even need to utter his name. This coroner already knew, I already know who you're calling about. I'm assuming you're calling about Rasheem. So here it is. I can't give you anything until such and such time. Pretty crazy stuff, y'all. Pretty crazy stuff. I got a couple super chats. Let me grab these really quick. Kid Grebo, hopefully I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for the 2. No problem exists that police can't make worse. I mean, there's some bad cops out here, y'all. There are definitely some bad cops out here, let me tell you. And we got to talk about this. Real talk. Deja Vu, thank you so much for the 5. Do we know who the roommate was or what their argument was about? Now, that's the one thing I was trying to find out too. I have yet to see anything that says anything about I haven't seen his face, what his identity is. We don't know. Personally, I do not know. I looked that up and I didn't find anything. Okay. I didn't find anything about the roommate and the roommate that just left him high and dry, because that roommate really did leave him high and dry. Okay. Really did leave him high and dry. And there's no reason for that. There was no reason for that at all. So I want to play this video. And the thing is also, though, you got to remember, well, one, I want to share this video with you guys because they did have a press conference talking about Rasheem, bringing awareness to the situation. This is foul play, guys. This is absolutely foul play. This is a news clip from that press conference that happened a couple days ago. Like I said, I was hoping that there would be a little bit more information. That I was waiting for more elements. There's only one element that I have to share with you guys that shows proof, possible proof of foul play here, guys. Possible proof. But I also want you to hear from Ben Crump, from his mother, who are here for this press conference. And then we're going to talk about sundown towns. I said this earlier. I didn't say sundown towns, but we're going to talk about sundown towns in just a little bit. Sundown towns do exist, ladies and germs. I just want to keep that straight funky with y'all. There are some seriously dangerous towns. As soon as the sun goes down, if you black or if you are a person of color, you got a little inkling of melanin in your skin, you better not be out in the public when the sun goes down. Those towns still exist to this day. We're going to be jumping into that in just a minute. Okay. And Silver Blue, yes, even in 2023. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's real. It exists. Oh, there are so many new things, new bills that are being passed, etc., in certain states right now that are absolutely mind-blowing. I know that's a little bit of a left turn, but I just want to keep you guys aware of the things that are actually going on, bills that are actually being put into play in certain states that are basically against anybody who is gay, a person of color, somebody like a member of the LGBTQ plus community, a person of color, a person who is outside the religion of Christian. It's insane, and it exists. It's happening here, guys. Man, they are literally trying to implement the L word. They're trying to bring that back too in certain states. Left turn, one more thing, another fact, another state is trying to bring in the L word on women that actually get the A word, if you get what I'm saying. You know, you are having a baby and you realize you don't want the baby, so you make the decision to not have the baby. That's how I can explain it. Okay? That is really happening. So even more places are trying to push that kind of stuff. So I'm just being real with y'all. This is the world that we live in, at least on stateside, because I know some of y'all are not stateside. You guys are across the pond, other corner of the world. This really is real. And now they're putting it in bills so that it can be part of the law in specific states. Anyway, the L word is lynch. Okay? Okay? Being suspended from a tree. I have to use code words, guys. Okay, Jennifer? So just so you know. Yeah. Miss Peaches just said it right. Ain't she sweet? Thank you. Mary, thank you so much for the 5. This breaks my heart. You think big cities are dangerous, but small southern towns are still dangerous in 2023. What the hell? Absolutely. I'm just giving you guys facts. I'm giving you guys, this is real. And again, this is a tale as old as time. Let's continue. I want to hear what they got to say about this. Benjamin Crumb has some things to say. Please do me a favor. Oh, let me do that really quick before I start playing it and the audio don't work. Because knowing my luck, that was about to happen. All right? But do me a favor. Be sure to hit the number 1 to let me know that this is working for you, okay? And let's rock and roll.
Thank you for your patience. Obviously, travel delays.
Sorry, guys. One more second. Come on. Let's try that again.
Today, I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Carlos Moore, a great lawyer who hails here from the state of Mississippi, and with Attorney Chris O'Neill, we have the honor of fighting for justice for the family of Rasheem Carter. We have present here with us a lot of family members, a lot of supporters from her hometown who came all the way to Jackson, Mississippi, to the state capitol because they believe they're trying to sweep the killing of her child, her baby, under the rug. And so we have the president of the Mississippi NWSP chapter of Jefferson County present here with us, President Ricky McDonough, who's also going to address you. But first, we're going to talk about what we have discovered thus far. Then Attorney Carlos Moore is going to talk to you about things that he feels is very important here in Mississippi. Thank you for us to not let them get away with. And then you're going to hear from his mother, Tiffany Carter, whose heart is broken, but yet she's still fighting to make sure that we catch these murderers. One thing is for certain, as Attorney O'Neill and I talked with my investigator, Arthur Reed, this was not a natural killing. This was not a natural death. This represents a young man who was killed. His head was severed from his body. His vertebrae, his spinal cord, was in another spot they discovered away from his severed head. They have recently found remains that they believe are also Rasheem Carter at another part of where he went missing. And what that tells us is that this was a nefarious act. This was an evil act. somebody murdered Rasheem Carter. And we cannot let them get away with this.
One thing I want to point out, and I'm still wondering this too, because I don't know anything about like autopsies and how they handled things like this. I'm still wondering why his crown, like the top of his head, was actually why is it open? I don't know if that's part of the autopsy that they did and all that, but still, no matter what, regardless if the crown of his head, the top of his skull was removed during or after, the fact that his body was not attached to his head screams foul play. Just screams foul play. Doesn't matter if his remains were found this way with the top gone or not. It still screams foul play. It's still disgusting. It's still heartbreaking. It still angers a lot of people. And the thing is also, too, you got to remember, this young man was missing for a month. So how he was found, he was severely decomposed. And still, yet, parts of him were in various places away from his body. And there's people out here that are saying, at least local PD is sitting here saying, we don't see any reason for you guys to think that there's foul play. I beg to differ. Let's continue. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. Oh, let me get this super chat here really quick before we get rocking and a rolling. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate the 10. Our beautiful Black brothers and sisters have suffered long enough. Our Black community, our gay community needs to be supported. These are a-holes need to be stopped. My heart breaks for mom. Yes, I'm with you 100%, Kelly. It's so sad. And terrifying to think that because of the color of my skin, I can't drive through a certain town in a certain state at a certain time without wondering if I'm going to make it out of that town or that city in one piece. That is really, really sad and terrifying to think about. And terrifying and sad and heartbreaking to know that it still exists to this day. This still exists in 2023, everybody. We're going to get into the sundown town conversation. But for what I'm hearing and from what everybody's been putting out, and even in my theory as well, I think this young man is a victim of someone who was caught in a sundown town. That didn't make it out alive. We got more. Trust me, this stuff angers me so much because this could be anybody. It really could. Again, color of our skin. As soon as the sun goes down, let's continue.
I mean, when you look at these pictures taken at the autopsy, it tells you that there's nothing natural about this. It screams out for justice. And his mother, Tiffany Carter, had the courage to say, Attorney Crump, Attorney Moore, y'all show it all. Show it all so people know what they did to my baby. Somebody's seen what happened to Rasheem. Somebody's seen what happened to Rasheem. And we have to keep the pressure on until we get to the truth. And so today, we're calling for the Department of Justice to open an investigation as to what happened to Rasheem Carter. Somebody seen what happened to Rasheem. And it doesn't make any sense at all, because the text message that his mother got before he went missing is a part of the clue to solving this murder. And it has to be investigated. Do you want to read it, Tiffany? You have to say the name.
Okay.
And what?
This was on October the 1st. My son texted me. This was after him and I had gotten off the phone. He said, me and the owner of this company not seeing eye to eye, Mama. His name, which I can't say at this time, but if anything happened to me, he's responsible for it. I'm too smart, Mama. He got these guys wanting to kill me.
You heard that, right? But again, oh, there's no foul play, right? There's no foul play, right? Hold on, I'm gonna let that sink in. Let it go all the way down to the plums, baby. Let it go all the way down, seep into the marrow of your bones real quick. And you tell me if there isn't any foul play. You got text messages from the son, terrified out of his mind, scared, texting his own mama and saying, this, if anything happens to me, very verbatim, this man did it. Now I got people chasing me down. Men, white men in trucks chasing me down. This is not a moment of somebody having some sort of psychotic break. This isn't him having like thinking that he's seeing visions of demons or something like that. This is really happening to him in real time. And he texts his mother that. Yet that information doesn't scream foul play to the police in Taylorsville? Huh. I'm going to play that one more time because I know you nosebleed seat listeners need to hear it one more again. So I'm going to let y'all hear that piece one more time. Let's rock and roll.
Read it, Tiffany. You have to say the name.
Okay.
And what?
This was on October the 1st. My son texted me. This was after him and I had gotten off the phone. He said, me and the owner of this company not seeing eye to eye, Mama. His name, which I can't say at this time, but if anything happened to me, he's responsible for it. I'm too smart, Mama. He got these guys wanting to kill me.
He got these guys wanting to take me, wanting to unalive me, wanting to K me, M me. That is a full-on text message to his mother. This is the mother right here, giving you, all of us, the information that we need. You know, for a fact, the day after, or the days that he was there, and the family friend went down to go and pick him up, and then she went back home to Taylor, like not finding him there in Taylorsville, went back to Laurel, picked up the mama, went back to Taylorsville to go talk to the 5-0. The 5-0 was presented a tech, literally her phone, I'm sure, going, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And they still said no foul play. I'm just asking you guys, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? And yet there's still no foul play. I just see, but that's the thing though, right? You hear all kinds of foul play stories that happen on so many other cases. So many other cases. We constantly talk about these other stories. I have a pop-up video to talk about a story that we are all obsessing over, another case that we are all obsessing over, and that's fine. But what's wild to me is that you got a story right here, clearly screams foul play, clearly screams that there is wrongdoing going on here, that 5-0 in Mississippi is doing a very, very bad thing, and no one cares. No one cares. I'm gonna play the rest of this really quick, but again, this man needs justice. This father needs justice. Okay, real quick, let me get this super chat really quick. I appreciate the super chat. Seriously, I do appreciate it. Thank you. Shoot, people come flooding for other shows. We talk about something like this that matters as well. I'm just saying, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because this stuff flies right under the radar when there should be justice and investigation and obsession over cases like this as well. Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much for the 500 yen. How could the police see all of this and say no foul play? Seriously, just how? This is so wrong, pure evil. I can't stop trembling. Prayers to the family. Kimberly, thank you. And the thing is, it's okay. Let me say this, and I'm going to turn my mic up just a little bit. Let me say this. If at all this moves you, for those of y'all who are listening right now, just like this super chat, just like Kimberly, if this moves you, if this inspires you or invokes something within your spirit, I just urge you guys to please bring up his name. Hashtag, grab his photo, post it, talk about it. The more it's out here, the more that there's more awareness to it, the more we can get justice for this young man. Again, I know that we are only one person, okay? We are all just one individual, okay? Out here and flying around in this world and just trying to live our lives. We can only go from one case to the other. There's only so much we can do. But a simple hashtag will suffice. At least somebody else in your group of friends, whatever, it may be that one person that clicks on it and goes, whoa, that's insane. I'm moved by that. And they share it as well. That's all. It's as simple as that. Takes 2 seconds to retweet or post something on your Facebook page or on your Instagram, whatever your main platform is. You don't have to be talking on a show for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. It could just be as simple as that. That is still using your time, using your precious time to funnel energy towards getting justice for this family and for this young man. That's all I ask. And this is the reason why I'm bringing up this story, because this story needs more light under the sun. But let's continue playing this, okay? And yes, I do agree, Sherry, real quick. We all have a voice. Each and every single one of us, individual voices, all different. It's like a fingerprint, very unique in their own way, okay? So, bring it up. Talk about it. Okay. K2 Cheeses said, people not flocking to the show because most Americans, in the words of Jack Nicholson, can't handle the truth. Yeah, that's true. You can't handle the truth. I agree. I agree. Okay, but let's hear the rest of this. I think it's going to be a wrap up here on this press conference, but let's hear the last piece.
And that's what he sent to me.
And then he went missing. And then His remains were found with his head dismembered from his body, his spinal cord separated from his head, and his other body parts are still missing.
Yet that was from an animal, remember? That's what they're claiming. An animal did this.
Tiffany deserves answers. This community deserves answers.
Okay. Now, as you can see, that is that piece. Like I said, there's more. And I really do appreciate all y'all being here, rocking with me this morning on this conversation and all that. There's, trust me, I understand that there's plenty of other shows, other stories that you guys could be watching as well. But there has been some new information. There has been more information that we need to take a look at. Now, there has been something that just recently came out. Just a few hours ago, if not, maybe earlier, maybe last night, I don't know. All I know is that when I woke up this morning, as I was getting more information and trying to get prepared for this particular story, this one of the elements I was waiting for did actually drop. So we got to take a look at this. So Rasheem Carter, there's an image now. There's an image where he is running for his life. As a new trail camera image has been released, showing, I would say, capturing one of the last moments of his life. Now, it's nothing graphic. It's nothing super graphic or anything. But it does say a lot. So take a look at this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do you better. Hold on. So here it is, just so you guys can see a better image of it. It's nothing graphic. But as you can see, you see that photo right there? This man's shirtless out in the woods. Allegedly, this is one of the last images that was taken before he was found. For lack of a better term, separated and pieces of him still missing. But as you can see, he's still alive in this photo. But why is he shirtless? What the hell is going on here? Now, one thing I'm still trying to figure out, because right up here, if you can see my mouse, right up here, is that him holding a log, like holding a stick for protection? Or is that just like a branch that just seems to be hanging in this kind of way? The way I see it, to me, it looks like he's holding a big, thick stick. Walking in the, I feel like he's running in the woods. Clearly, yeah. Nene, clearly he was in an altercation. This screams altercation to me. This screams that he had no protection. He grabbed a log or grabbed a thick stick and was running for his life. And maybe they were holding him down. Maybe he was being held against his will. And then out of nowhere, he ripped himself free, even from his own shirt. But to me, you have images like this that are out here, and you're telling me there ain't no foul play? But I wanted to share this with you guys, this article. Okay. Now, this was obviously put up about 4 hours ago or so. But as you can see, that photo is right there. And that's the thing. It looks to me like in this area, right up here, you see, and this could just be leaves, like shadows from the trees above. That could be it too. Or these could literally be scratches and bruises on his body right here. It could. But let's get into this. So they say he ran into a wooded area on the day he was reported missing while holding what looked like a large branch, showed in new trail camera footage. We already know about what happened to him. He was missing in October the 2nd. His remains were found in a wooded area south of Taylorsville a month later, while his family's lawyer, citing an independent autopsy report, said that his body was removed, like was separated from his head. Still, at the time, they were saying that there was still, I'm just repeating these things because these are important pieces of information that you should remember. Okay? Remember here, these police officers, this local PD was saying no foul play. Okay? No foul play. And don't worry, Miss Shunty, I will put it back up again. Okay? And we will zoom in and examine it one more time again. Okay? But okay, early assessment, no reason for foul play, had come at a time when there was no evidence that pointed to a homicide, which is absolute BS. The mother even said, you can see there are bruises on him. When I see that picture, I know my son was somewhere struggling, somewhere running for his life. She was saying that he was being chased. This picture shows something not right. Something transpired. Now, of course, one of his cousins was saying he also felt that he was hiding when the picture was shot. I think it was a struggle, and he was trying to protect himself. He was hiding. Now, remember what we said earlier. Remember, I said a police officer said that he found him hiding in a bush in a gas station in Taylorsville. Remember that when I talked about that? Now, you got to remember, why would he be hiding in a bush? And and of course, it's so people are so quick to automatically assume, oh, this man was out his mind, or there's a mental health issue going on here. No, there wasn't. This man was scared out of his mind. This man was being chased. Why would he text his mother something that ain't true? And if there's no history of mental health issues, why would he have suddenly a psychotic break right then and there? Makes no sense. It's not like he just ran out into the woods, ripped his shirt off, grabbed a stick, and wanted to be one with the earth. Nah. This man was scared out of his mind, probably ripped himself out of his own shirt because of the struggles that he was having with whoever these truckload filled with these men chasing him down, whoever they were. He was getting the hell away from them by any means necessary. There is no way, shape, or form that this is not foul play. Especially when you see, let me just bring that back up again. When you see this photo, even the mother was sitting here saying, wait a second. Could these be bruises on his body? Look at his arm right here. It also, I have to say it too, it could also be shadows from the trees, sunlight hitting the tree and all that stuff. That could be it too. But why, oh why, is he holding a big old stick in his right hand? And then again, why is he shirtless? And And this looks a bit odd, in my personal opinion as well, how his foot is angled and all that. But that could mean anything. This is a man that was terrified, scared out of his mind. Scared. And then also, I wonder what that is in the background, like that, whatever that basin is, or whatever the hell that is. Let me blow this up again. What this is? What is this? What is this? I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And I don't know if he's like, if he's got no shoes on. Down here, we go back to this. Is that a shoe? Or is he bare, or is he just wearing socks? I have many questions, y'all. But again, this is somebody, whoops, sorry. But then again, this is somebody that sent text messages to his mother saying that there were truckloads of white men hurling slurs at him, chasing him down throughout this town. And then the only image that we have that could be one of the very last images before his demise, he's shirtless, he's seemingly bruised in this, and he's holding a stick in the woods. Oh, wait. Somebody just said it. Kilta, thank you so much. A deer feeder to attract the deers. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you. But let's continue on here. Okay, let's continue on here. And the question is, I'm still wondering as well where this came from, this photo. Okay. Of course, there's Rasheem again. Down. So in a statement announcing the discovery, on November 2nd, basically a month later, exactly a month after he was last seen alive, his skeletal remains were found. So in a statement announcing the discovery, the Smith County Sheriff's Office had then said there was no reason to believe there was foul play, right? That foul play was involved. It was unclear what prompted law enforcement to issue the initial statement or what led to the discovery of his remains. No charges have been brought, and his cause of demise is still unknown. They said a spokesperson for the Missouri Bureau of Investigation told the Independent, the article I'm reading here, on Wednesday that the COD, cause of demise, has not been determined due to the condition of Carter's remains. Now, I'm still wondering, Melissa just said, who reported and leaked this, see if more cameras up in the woods. My husband always leaves hunting cameras up and changes cards all year. Some may be there. And I agree. But again, it's interesting that we are in March right now. Okay. Ain't tomorrow St. Patty's Day or something? Yeah, we passed mid-March. Okay, we're on the last half of March. And now this photo has finally come out. This photo right here has finally come out. Now, you know for a fact that this is probably a video. This can't just be a still image. I'm sorry. Something's not right. And April just said, And thank you so much for the comment, April Coleman. She said, Pascal, he's looking at someone. And I think he may be too. He's looking, yeah. Hot mess, absolutely. He's looking in that bush. He's looking to see what's going on over there. You see what I'm saying? He knows some ain't right. This is foul play, like a mother lover. And people have the audacity. It just angers me because, again, we got another young black man, another young person. Forget the race. You got a young man, a father that was running for his life, scared out of his mind, and people are trying to cover this up. That little old town of Taylorsville is covering this ish up. I guarantee you they are. Okay? His body, from what we understand, yes, Charisse, okay, skeletal bones in 1 month. I don't know. They did something foul at the coroner's office. I don't know about all that, but they did say that his remains were so badly, there's such bad deterioration or whatever, decay on his remains. That's what they were basically saying, how he was found almost basically skeletal. They just saw it was like bones, very little flesh, if that makes any sense. And Tabitha, okay. So trail cameras are pictures, not videos. Okay. So if there is pictures and not video, I wonder how many other photos that they actually have. And I wonder, okay, then Tabitha, since you know this, I appreciate you saying this, okay? How often do they take a photo? Is it every 5 minutes? Is it every 5 seconds? I'd like to know. Zozo Bob, thank you so much. What's up, man? Some nature trails have websites, so the cams are on 24/7, and this could be a capture pic. See, and that's what I'm thinking too, that maybe this is a screenshot of an actual video, possibly. And it also could just very well be a photo, but I'm wondering, how often do they take a photo? Hot Mess just said motion detected. Lucifer just said motion detected. Okay. I think with every movement, man. So then is it like chicken, or is it chicken and then he just kept running? You see what I'm saying? I'm just curious. Okay. I'm just curious. And I appreciate all y'all being here. Real talk. I really do appreciate it. Okay. But real quick, hold on 1 second. I got to do, hold on. Let's see here. Now, from my understanding, sorry, I'm reading through something really quick, guys, because there's a piece. Come on, there's a piece here that I'm still trying to figure out for myself. I have not seen this written out. Okay, I have not seen it written out, but I have heard information about the actual property in which the body was found, in which Rasheem. Hold on, guys. Sorry. This thing's tripping. Hold on. I'm still here. I am still here. There we go. Sorry, the camera's going to be is tripping a little bit, so I apologize, guys. But stay with me. They were saying, so I have some questions about the actual property, the private property in which his body was actually found. Okay. Now, I haven't seen it written in black and white, but I hear through the grapevine and through, through stories I've heard through when I've done my research about this. I've just heard this, that there is a connection with local PD and the owner of this private property. That's one thing that I've heard, that there is some sort of connection, that the person who owns the private property is connected to someone higher up in that town. That's one thing I've heard. Now, if there's anything that has to do with that, if there's any connection to that, if there's any connection to a cover-up with this whole thing, this is what I'd be leaning towards. Again, you got to remember, who are these men that jumped into the back of trucks or jumped in their trucks and chased this innocent young man down? Who? That's one thing I'm still trying to figure out for myself. Okay. But that's something I've heard, but I have yet to see anything written in black and white saying that the owner of this private property has some connections to a higher up, in elected officials or within the PD. Okay. Because everything so far is basically the same thing over and over and over again. The police saying we suspect no foul play, all that stuff. But you got the mother, you got himself, you got other people, you got different stories from the chief of police. He says one thing to the family, but says something completely different to the news. That makes no sense, guys. Foul play is definitely going down. Now, the thing is that a lot of people are saying that, hey, understandably, to me, this is a man that was in a sundown town. Now, a lot of you guys might be wondering, what the heck is that? Well, let me give you guys a quick definition of what a sundown town is, okay? So sundown towns, also known as sunset towns, gray towns, or sundowner towns. I'll just blow this up for you guys a little bit bigger. Oops. That's a real thing. So let me repeat that again. Sundown towns, also known as sunset towns, gray towns, or sundowner towns, are all white municipalities or neighborhoods in the United States that practice a form of racial segregation by excluding non-whites via some combination of discriminatory local laws, intimidation, or violence. The term came from signs posted that, quote unquote, colored people, I'm still here, guys, had to leave town by sundown. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. This still exists. This type of ish still exists to this day. Okay? There are still towns that you don't want to be melanated when the sun goes down. Okay? Discriminatory policies and actions distinguish sundown towns from towns that have no black residents for demographic reasons. Historically, towns have been confirmed as sundown towns by newspaper articles, county histories, and works progress administration files. Corroborated by tax or U.S. Census records showing an absence of black people or sharp drop in the black population between two census. Now, the thing is, again, taking all the red tape and all this jargon out of the way, let me just tell you, don't find yourself black when the sun goes down in a particular town. That's all that is. Just so that you know what I'm trying to explain to you. They still exist to this day. I have driven through a couple of them myself, knowing not to stay there when the sun goes down. I have driven through states drinking huge big gulps of coffee type situations, knowing that certain southern states, you don't want to be caught down there in the middle of the night. You can find yourself in some really serious trouble. Okay? This is a real thing. It's very much a real thing. And a little bit to explain a little bit about this sundown town thing, so that you guys can understand it a little bit more. Here's a video for you guys to consume with your eyeballs. Let's take a listen.
Nixon went on television yesterday to announce the midnight curfew for residents of Ferguson. We'd already gone off the air here on MHP. But friend of the show, Dorian Warren, who was with me at my table yesterday, stuck around and joined my colleague TJ Holmes at his table during the news conference. After it ended, Dorian weighed in on the historical precedent to what the governor had to say.
What you just said, Raul, when the sun goes down, here is the historical context for this. I mean, if you were black in an all-white town, you could not be in that town when the sun goes down, and it was a threat to your safety.
Historian and author James Lowen, the man who literally wrote the book on sundown towns, uncovered thousands of these towns that existed in the United States throughout the 20th century. By some estimates, as many as 10,000 sundown towns had sprung up across the country by 1970. Some where the warning to African Americans not to let the sun go down on you was an unspoken rule that spread by reputation.
And by the way, we ain't talking Elton John, okay? We talking something serious, all right? Just want to make that abundantly clear. This is a very real thing. It exists still to this day. We deal with this in some southern towns and some northern towns. This really does exist. The funny thing is, and the heartbreaking thing, not the funny thing, but the heartbreaking part of it is, you could be driving through a town that you don't even know is a sundown town, and you may run out of gas, have car issues, whatever. And not even, it's more than just you being worried about just getting mugged or just crossing paths with some psychopath. It's also the fear that you're driving through a town like Mississippi, or you find yourself stranded in a small little town like in a town in Mississippi, and you're not even getting one iota of hope, because of your skin tone. Sundown towns still do exist to this day. And my personal theory is that this young man, Rasheem Carter, was in the wrong place. And what's really sad about this whole thing, because it screams to me Ahmaud Arbery. The only difference between Ahmaud Arbery and Rasheem Carter is that we don't have footage. We don't have any videos. So far, we just have a still, which could be a capture of a video, from a video. But that's all we got. Ahmaud Arbery, his life, he got justice, thank God, because they were recording it. Rasheem, this young man, was half naked, running for his life in the woods. I hate to say it, but naked and afraid. All because one of his co-workers, because they had some sort of disagreement, maybe a misunderstanding, whatever it is, said, forget you, you can find your own way home. And now this young man is gone. because his coworker got in his feelings. You can't tell me that there isn't foul play in this. They set this young man up. They set this young man up. I'm going to play a little bit more.
Others, where the warning was explicitly spelled out in signs posted along the highway or at the town or on the county line. But all of them, whites-only spaces where being black after dark could mean arrest, harassment, assault, or worse. In 1968, 21-year-old Carol Jenkins was selling encyclopedias door to door in the sundown town of Martinsville, Indiana, and she was stabbed in the chest with a screwdriver and left to die in the street. So for African-American travelers, making the choice about where to stop for food, gas, or a bathroom break, or rest for the night was potentially a life or death decision.
And you want to know something crazy? That still happens to this day. This whole kind of situation right here that you're seeing right here still happens to this day. I still wonder why there aren't any. I still wonder why there are black people that actually live, or people of color that actually live in these particular towns. It still blows my mind. I'm not kidding, y'all, as my camera is starting to act up. But I'm not kidding, y'all. I literally look these things up. I look towns up before I drive. If I'm doing any kind of cross-country trip, if I'm driving anywhere, so on and so forth, I look these mugs up to know if I'm driving through that particular town, to go through it. Not to sit there, especially if I'm doing like some cross-country trip and I know I'm going to be doing, it's going to be a day or two of a trip. I go into the Googles and I make sure that I know what these towns are and if they're in my path. And I just sit there and I hope to the sweet baby Jesus that my tires don't blow out, that my engine doesn't shut down, that I don't run out of gas out of some random way. Because these sundown towns actually 110% exist. Now, this is not something that everyone looks up. I just do it because I love my life. I like being on this side of the earth. And I don't want to be finding myself in dire straits because somebody is judging me or wants to end my life because of the color of my skin. So I keep myself savvy, you feel me? That's what I do. I'm not sitting here saying anything bad about the choices that Rasheem made or not. All I'm saying is these towns do exist. They should not exist. They turned him into game. That's what I think. This turned into a hunter's game where he was the prey and they were the predators. He only went down there to work. He only went down there so he can make a little money, so he can turn the lights back on to his seafood restaurant, Cali's Express, and continue being a good father to his daughter. That's the only reason why he went down there, to make money, so he can survive. But instead, it turned into a terrible nightmare of survival. Again, guys, you cannot tell me that there was not some sort of foul play going on. Either this man got set up by his roommate that was in his feelings about something, or he was set up. They looked at him as a target as he was out there trying to figure out how he was going to get himself home. They saw that, and they saw that as an opportunity to strike. You saw the photo. That photo says a lot, everybody. That does not say, oh, this man had a psychotic break. This doesn't say anything of that sort. You have text messages that he received from his mother saying, hey, I'm scared. There are men coming after me. If anything happens to me, my employer did this. And yet local PD is still dragging their feet on this. Interesting. Because if you really think about it too, you got Shanquella Robinson. You got that whole situation going on in Mexico. There's, sure, international legalese and all that stuff going on with her in Mexico. We still haven't gotten justice for her with that. Sure, I will give a little bit of leeway, tiny bit of leeway on the fact that there are different policies and laws, etc., and how they run things in Mexico are different from America. But at the same time, stateside, this happened on American soil, and still local PD is doing nothing about it and still dragging their feet about this. So what I say is this needs to be done and investigated by higher ups. Shoot, the government needs to get involved. FBI, whatever you want to call it, they need to be involved. Period. Local PD ain't going to do it. Local PD is not going to do it. I'm telling you that right now, guys. Okay? Local PD is not going to do it. And that is where the frustration lies. Because everything has been laid out. Okay? Everything. Everything's been laid out. You also got to remember too, man, Mississippi's crazy. Okay? Mississippi's crazy. Because I don't know if you remember Michael Corey Jenkins. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, his situation is in Mississippi as well. Remember the story? Cops burst into his house with another friend of his. He was basically tortured. Then they put a gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger. This young man is still alive, though. He's still alive to this day, but that's Mississippi as well. I'm telling you right now, there really needs to be a higher up keeping an eye on the police. We hear constant stories of things that are going on in Memphis. We have the Tyree Nichols situation. We had the Breonna Taylor situation, which is still ongoing, by the way. Okay. You have all these other stories, the George Floyd, etc. You have a lot of things going on within PD where they're doing some really dirty things. You even got the Megan Hall situation. As much as it's comical and funny and shocking in that scandalous way, it's still shocking that you have a whole bunch of cops that are willing to do a whole lot of dirty stuff, y'all. Beyond dirty stuff on our own dime, on the taxpayer's dime. This has to be focused on by a much bigger law enforcement that is going to do it and investigate this to a T and bring justice for this family. That photo alone screams something completely different. This man was scared out of his mind. This man was scared out of his mind. And I loved that you guys saw that photo and you said, wait a second, nah, he's looking at somebody. He's looking that way. You know what I mean? He's looking at somebody through the bush. That's scary, y'all. Joanne, thank you so much for the 10. How about Alabama 20 years? How about Alabama 20 years? I lived there, and there are sundown towns that are black. Ooh, Now, interesting. I didn't know that. And if there is a sundown town where it's like reverse sundown, if you get what I'm saying, that would be news to me. I'm going to have to look that up when the show's over because that's news to me. Okay. But on some real stuff, guys, sundown towns actually do exist. They need to be brought in the forefront because there's a lot of young cats out here, a lot of young kids out here that don't know. That don't know that those things exist. And you never know. Maybe he didn't know. And I will say this too. There is still another thing where you go to a certain town and you just get that strange inkling. You get that strange vibe. Y'all ever gone to a specific area or a specific part of your own town, maybe walked into that local restaurant or local bar, and you just get this strange feeling? And I'm talking to my brothers and sisters that are of color, okay? We all felt it at some point where you walk into a room, and you know what? Actually, even white people too. Even my white brothers and sisters out here too, where you walk into a specific area and all of a sudden you feel like, oh, wow, I'm the only white person in this room. Same thing happens with black people too. Wow, I'm the only black person. Or wow, I'm the only person of color in this room, where it almost feels like the jukebox, the record scratches like, and everyone looks at you like, you don't look like us. Oh yeah, it's real. Okay, that issue's real. But imagine a whole town doing that. When the sun goes down, suddenly now you are the prey. It's real. And we all need to teach our loved ones that we need to keep their heads on that they need to keep their heads on a swivel and realize that these things, unfortunately, these are harsh realities, but there is real stuff like this happening everywhere in America. I'm sure they're happening all over different corners of the world as well. But just on this particular topic alone, it really does exist. And I just pray, I really do pray that we get justice for this young man. But there are other stories out here too. There are other cases just like this that have just been swept under the rug, completely ignored. But I hope that by talking about this, showing you guys receipts, etc., that maybe this will bring more awareness to the conversation so that we as a people can transcend and keep pushing forward. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. I really do. Okay? This wasn't an easy conversation to have today. But we do need to bring awareness and justice for this family. I wanted to bring this up and talk to you guys about this a couple days ago, but I was waiting for some more information because I heard through the grapevine about the photo, about to come out and all that as well. So I was just kind of waiting for that to drop. And it did. And it does show a lot, y'all. It shows a lot. We need to keep hashtagging. We need to keep bringing up the conversation. We need to start fixing our mouths to say his name more so that we can get this out here, so that maybe we don't have to beg the FBI or anyone else, hire law enforcement to step in and really investigate on what happened to this young man. Because even the Shanquella thing, the Shanquella case, that family shouldn't be begging for help from America. They shouldn't. And this family shouldn't be either. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys still. Seriously, I really do appreciate you guys coming on, being a part of the conversation. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Helps with the story, helps with the show. And of course, if you have not done it yet, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Okay? You know your boy's working hard out here in these streets. Come on. All right? Hit that subscribe button. All right? Anyway, it's time to get going. I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next show. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.